All right. Hi, welcome. Welcome this evening. We're so glad that you guys have joined us. We're here to share with y'all some information about the upcoming convention in Calgary. If you're already registered, give me a Yahoo!
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 Yahoo! All right. Well, today we're going to hear from a couple of folks. One of them is representing the event that we typically have called in the past Southland, and he's going to give us details about all of the information for this year's event. And we're going to hear from also a gentleman who is on the committee that is the host committee there in Calgary. And he's going to talk to us about kind of the stuff that we can do outside of the convention itself, as far as ticketed other things. And maybe we'll also get the DL on some toury things that we could do beforehand, or, the Stampede is after. So I'm really looking forward to that. So let me go ahead and introduce. First, we're going to hear from Mark, right? Is that right, Dawn?
We are. So we want to make sure that
but we want to talk about the price leap.
Yep.
Right, you're right.
Make sure everybody knows like why we're here. And of course, we've got a really important deadline coming up. And of course, that's December 15th. And we know lots of folks maybe on this call got to register in Singapore or have since, but we really want to make sure that you know, especially for yourself, for your club, for people who might have been on the fence, holidays are coming up, people forget. But there is a really important deadline coming up on December 15th, which is why we're really pleased that so many people signed up for this, whether you're watching live or recorded.
Yes, and that is also what I was supposed to say. Thank you, Dawn. I really appreciate the grace of both Dawn and everyone on here as I catch up on the script and make sure that I'm telling you guys all the information. So it is time to introduce Mark. And I'm excited because I've only been to a couple of conventions myself. And the first convention, I didn't really have a lot of information. I was just kind of going to figure it out. And for the second convention, I had a little bit of experience, and then I knew kind of maybe what questions to start asking. But I feel like now I know what I didn't know before, and now I know what questions to ask. If you guys are in that same boat, this is the one to ask. But I'm going to go ahead and do this intro. I want you guys to hear about this fella. So after 25 years in the financial services industry, Mark retired from the wealth management industry in December of 2018. Prior to that, he had worked as a partner, director of wealth management, and portfolio manager with Richardson GMP Limited, and was first vice president with a major bank-owned brokerage firm for more than a decade. He and his brother Scott were business partners for more than 21 years. Mark is currently the founding and managing partner for CastX Ventures, and he can correct that if I got it wrong, a biotech-focused venture capital firm with several portfolio companies spanning the areas of health, technology, and environmental stewardship. Outside of his vocation, Mark served on the Board of Governors at the University of Calgary and was the vice chair of the investment committee and a member of the executive committee. Mark is a passionate Rotarian and became one of the youngest district governors in 2008-2009 in the Rotary world when he served District 5360, representing Southern Alberta and Western Saskatchewan in 2025. Mark will be the co-chair of the host organizing committee for the Rotary International Convention that's being held in Calgary. And he most recently completed a 4-year term as a director of the Paralympic Foundation of Canada, and currently sits on both the Calgary Rotary Clubs Foundation and the Dean's Advisory Board at the Cummings School of Medicine. In April 2013, Mark and his wife Jennifer formed the Starrett Family Foundation to advance neuromuscular disease education and research, and to help improve accessibility for those with disabilities. And Mark also serves on several private company boards. So wow. First of all, thank you for all of the things that you've done in your community. And so we're honored to have you here to tell us things. Thank you so much for joining us.
Renee, thanks very much, and it's great to be with all of you today. I'd be remiss if I didn't formally introduce you to my boss, convention chair, Bryn Stiles. Bryn and I have known each other for more than 2 decades. I'm grateful to call him my friend. And I was so excited when President Stephanie named him as the convention chair. As a fellow Canadian and as a friend, we have a great working relationship between the staff at RI, the convention committee, the International Convention Committee, and of course our host organizing committee. Bryn, thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you, Mark. Great to be here.
I want to go through a few things and happy to answer a whole bunch of questions at the end. My goal is to go through this as quick as possible to give you a glimpse on some of the exciting things that are going to be happening in and around the convention. So to begin, I think you can all see my screen. We are less than 200 days away, which is freaky. Because when we put our name in, the City of Calgary, District 5360 for the bid, it was close to 9 years ago. So this has been a long journey for my co-chair, Craig Stokey, and I. We were also the bid chairs for the bid itself. And then because I guess we were so young or so passionate or so like any other Rotarian that says yes to everything, we were grateful to be asked to join and lead the HOC going forward. We'll talk about a bunch of things, everything from our signature events, host hospitality, the accommodations, volunteering, whole bunch of different things that we'll go through over the next 15 minutes or so. One of the big things about Calgary is that our message is you're already here. Meaning that we're going to welcome you with such open arms. It's like you're going home. And so our city, our district is so hospitable. And not only that, when you arrive in Calgary, it will seem like any other vibrant Rotary city. When you can walk up and down the street and see a variety of projects and Rotary wheels to indicate what Calgary has done and what Rotary has done within Calgary to support, whether it's Rotary Challenger Park, the longest contiguous park system walkway in the Rotary Mattamy Greenway. Very exciting. We also like to say that the City of Calgary and District 5360 is where the Wild West meets contemporary Canada. We are a very diverse city. We're a big, small city, meaning we have 1.4, 1.5 million people, but it still has a down-home feel to it. Whereas you're walking into restaurants or being welcomed at the airport, you will be made to feel home and be part of our city and a convention where you will feel comfortable. A few things that we're so proud of Calgary. Number one, our C train, our light rail transit runs on 100% wind generated electricity. We're one of North America's most sustainable travel destinations. We're also Canada's third most diverse major city in Canada. Over 240 ethnicities within the city of Calgary now. That is very different than 1996, the last time Calgary welcomed the Rotary International Convention to our city. It was very, very different, and we're just so much more diverse now. Many more hotels, our arts and culture, our sports, our food, everything's so much richer than in 1996. And by Condé Nast Traveler 2023, we're the friendliest city in the world as well. And so we're very proud of that, and we'll prove that to each and every one of you when you come to Calgary next June. We're also known for being safe and clean. We have the most sunny days in North America at over 300 average of. And for all of our friends south of the border, if you take a look at the conversion, it's basically $1.41 today. So everything is on sale when you come to Calgary and to Canada to join us next June. One of the things that I think you'll fall in love with, and this is just in the downtown core, a very small downtown in the middle of the city, very close to the campus where the convention will be. There are more than 200 restaurants. And we have chefs from all around the world in the last decade or so that have come to Calgary to start restaurants. So diversity of food, great diversity of food, a farm to fork experience. We're so close to rural areas that a lot of our beef, a lot of our vegetables are coming into our city on a daily basis and put on the table that day type of thing. Tourism Calgary will tell us a lot about Calgary being the base camp to adventure, meaning within the city of Calgary, there are so many things to do, but we're so close to many other things that I'll talk about in a little bit. We certainly have our Western heritage, Indigenous experiences, rich art and culture, and some world-class attractions that we can talk about. We like to say, and Rotary as well, is that Rotary is for the young and young at heart, just like Calgary is for the young and young at heart. So regardless of your age, regardless of whether you're bringing your family, you're bringing your spouse, you're traveling as a single, you're 70 or 40, you're a Rotaractor, there will be something for everyone to do at the Calgary Convention. One of the first selling points that I'll say is that on our HOC website, and we'll pass on this presentation to you guys to circulate after, because all of these links are live within the presentation, so you'll be able to click through. But we are having, and I think it was Renee that alluded to, or Dawn alluded to before, you have your white hat waiting for. On our HOC website, you can buy the signature Smith-built tourist hat for $35 US. And the reason that we're promoting that, yes, because we want to raise money, but it hasn't been announced yet, but at one of our signature events, we're going to be having the largest ever white hat ceremony. If you don't know what a white hat ceremony is, you are in for a treat. It is what we have done to welcome dignitaries like Queen Elizabeth II, William and Kate, former Presidents Clinton and Bush, the Dalai Lama, Pope John Paul, every dignitary that has come to the city of Calgary, we've white hatted them. And we're going to do that to delegates for the RI convention next June as well. And oh yeah, there's a convention going on. One of the things we love about a convention, and Calgary's will be no different, is the quality of speakers, the quality of entertainment, the ability to meet Rotarians from around the world, and to really have just making new friends and reconnecting with old friends. We are kind of, and there's not a lot of speakers, not a lot of entertainment that has been announced yet. But I can tell you from being on the International Convention Committee, there is a wide plethora of very exciting potential speakers, potential entertainment that I think we will be very, very happy come Calgary when it comes to that. Our convention experience is similar to other conventions. Opening ceremonies, there should be 2 of them because of the number of people that we're expecting on June 22nd. But the night before, the Saturday night, we're inviting people to come to Calgary early, because that is where we're going to have our first signature event, the Grandstand Spectacular. So when we have between 7,000 and 10,000 people highlighting Western culture and entertainment and Indian horse races and a lot of very special things. There are videos for every one of our signature events so that you can go and buy tickets for them, but you can also get a sense for what the experience is actually going to be like. On the evening of June 22nd, there's a couple of different choices. New Blood, which is an Indigenous play, along with our civic orchestra, happening at our Jubilee Auditorium, which is our preeminent concert facility, fine arts concert facility in the city of Calgary, or at the Big Four right on campus. I'll explain what campus is in a couple of minutes, but we're going to have a concert there as well for rich entertainment and food. On the Monday night, host hospitality. One of the things that the Calgary Convention in 1996 was known for is that Rotarians welcomed up their homes to welcome Rotarians into their homes to share fellowship and to share food. We're going to be expecting more than 5,000 people to sign up for host or home hospitality. So whether that means a Rotarian is opening it up for 5 couples to their home, or you're going to a venue of entertainment where there'll be 200 people. The cost is very cheap, $50 US. It basically covers the cost of transportation around the outskirts of the city to make sure that people are moving very efficiently on that night. But every person that is signed up to be a host are providing the food, the entertainment free of charge. And so that's the reason where we've been able to keep the cost low for that compared to other home hospitalities. And then on the 24th, in our Nutrient Center, think of it as a mini 2,500 seated rodeo facility where we're going to be having our Western Ranch showcase of trick riders and wonderful things that'll be happening each and every evening during the convention. General sessions every day, and on the 23rd, 24th, and half of the 25th, breakout sessions, which I'll talk about in a second. I've talked a lot about convention campus. One of the exciting things about this convention is that virtually everything is all within a 2-3 minute walk once you get to the convention campus. So we have in the middle circle to the right, the Pengrowth Scotiabank Saddle Dome, which is basically where the opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, and plenaries are going to be. On the circle on the bottom is the grandstand stage where the signature event on the night before our opening is. And in the BMO Center, they're calling it the Roundup Center on this picture, is the state-of-the-art newly opened convention center where we'll be taking over and we'll be having all of our official lunches and dinners, our president's reception, things like that, as well as our House of Friendship and the breakout sessions. City of Calgary, easily to orientate it. It's basically in 4 quadrants: northwest, southwest, northeast, and southeast, where we are plunk right in the middle of it in terms of our convention campus. No matter where you are staying, it's very easy to get around the city and very economical to get around the city, and it does not matter where your hotel is, and we'll go into that in a couple of seconds. Getting in around. So obviously for this call, all you need is your Nexus card, your passport. You get across the border, absolutely no problem. And you don't need to apply for a visa or anything like that. That's one of the challenges of a convention that we're talking with a bunch of people to make sure that people from all around the world are going to be able to come to Calgary. Lots of direct flights. Calgary is considered one of the 5 major Canadian hubs. So lots of direct flights daily from Chicago, California, Midwest, Eastern. There's a couple of flights every day from New York. So very, very easy to get direct flights into Calgary. Absolutely no problem. Or you can come through 6 Alberta border crossings by land. If you're driving up or coming on an RV, they're very easy to get through and often not in the month of June having big lineups at all. One of the great things that we were able to do for our convention is that every single delegate will get a complimentary transit pass. All you need to do is show your badge and you'll be able to go on any bus, any light rail transit, and get around the city. One of the things that our host organizing committee is also going to be doing, oftentimes in big cities, you have these subway platforms or whatever. We're going to have lots of Rotary volunteers. We're going to have lots of entertainment. So it's going to be a very safe, no matter what time of the day you're doing it, for those high visibility times where we know a lot of our delegates are going to be making their way downtown or going home at night. We'll have a lot of people around just so that you know where you're going and you feel safe and have a good time doing it. Accommodation. One of the things that I will suggest to everyone on here, attendance is going very well. As a result, we are becoming very challenged when it comes to hotel accommodation. What that means is that many of the hotels in the downtown area are completely booked up already. keep checking, because as people cancel, as they get new rooms go onto the block, there'll be new rooms every day. But if you find that any official RI hotel has availability, RI, if it's say by the airport, Rotary will actually arrange for transportation down to the campus or to a nearby transit station. And so they'll make it easy, regardless of where you happen to be staying in the city. What we also know is that as seasoned travelers, please don't hesitate to reach out to Expedia, Travelocity, VRBO, Airbnb, lots of different ways, lots of different people that can go find their own room. What we also like to say is that there is an advantage to doing it through the official Rotary block, because Rotary has service and merits travel as the engaged partner for that. The reality is basically if there's a problem, Rotary can help you solve that problem if you buy one within the official block. But you may be able to find more hotel rooms that are not part of the block, just like you would if you were traveling to another city or using your loyalty points or whatever the case may be. I talked a little bit about signature events. They're all on our HOC website, videos, ticketing opportunities. We were very excited that on day one of Singapore, all of our signature events were open for sale. So it's not something that you're having to wait to find out what we're going to be doing in January, February, March. Everything that HOC has to offer, home hospitality and signature events, are all available right now. Our promotion co-chairs really want me to talk about and to remind people to come on June 21st, because that grandstand show is one of the signature events, one of the things that we believe will be remembered of the Calgary Convention for decades to come. If you've been or heard of the 1996 Calgary Convention, it's considered to be one of the best ever. And a couple of different reasons. Number one, the home hospitality that I talked about earlier. And the second thing was we had figure skaters at our opening flag ceremony. And so those are kind of the things that we remember in Calgary. Well, this time we're looking to create new experiences that will be remembered for decades to come. And we think that the grandstand show is going to be one of them. So on 24th, we're going to show the world how to party. On the 25th, we're coming together. And on the 24th, coming together, pardon me. And the 25th, our Western experience, our trick riding at the Nutrient Center. All of that's on our HOC website. Host hospitality, I've talked about. Biggest remembrance from 1996, being able to go into Rotarian homes, friends that people still connect with this day. People still remember 1996 and still reconnect to relationships that they made in 1996 through going to people's home, and we're hoping to replicate that again in 2025. Talked about that already. Our volunteer chair wants me to remind all the convention delegates is that if you have a little bit of time, if you want to be helping to direct people or being friendly to people, we'd be happy to have you as a volunteer on our HOC website. We're just asking people to sign up for a 4-hour shift. We're expecting more than 1,000 volunteers, which you'll see them, you'll notice them. Moving around and helping everybody have a wonderful experience when you come to Calgary. There are on our HOC website a lot of pre and post tours. Okay, lots of things to do, very, very close to the city of Calgary. Certainly, one of the things that Calgary is known for is the Calgary Exhibition and Stampede. A week after the convention ends is when the Stampede starts. And so if you have time to arrange for your travels to stay a little bit longer, what a lot of people are doing are, as soon as the convention is over, they're going into the mountains, they're going on a trip, and then they're coming back the following Friday for the Calgary Stampede happening from July 4th to 13th. Lots of Indigenous experiences. We're a very rich part of our culture. We'll be highlighting some travel experiences, some artisans, some entertainment throughout the entire convention that we're very proud of. We have a National Music Center, a historical village, Spruce Meadows, which is considered one of the preeminent horse jumping facilities in the entire world, is in Calgary. And we are within 2.5 hours of 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So if you are coming to the beautiful Rocky Mountains, if you want to see places and beauty that you're not able to see anywhere else in the world, Calgary is your place for that. Train travel going up to our national parks. A lot of people are getting involved in that, which sounds like a lot of fun. Badlands to the east, just some beautiful areas. I don't have anything to say about this slide. I just love looking at this slide, to be honest. The mountains and the things. So that's basically the end. And as Dawn and Renee were saying before, it's no bull. The price increases on December 16th. So we'd love to welcome you here. We'd love to answer any questions that you have. Some key websites, obviously you go register for the convention, book your hotel on convention.rotary.org. The host organizing committee, host hospitality, your white hat, signature events, rotarycalgary2025.org, and then visit calgary.com if you're looking for restaurants or anything else to do in Calgary while you're here. That's it. And they probably went way over my time. I apologize. I got on a roll.
No, you're right on time. And we're gonna ask folks to hold your questions because we want to make sure that you get to hear a little bit about the gathering, which is the renamed Southland. And if you've ever been to a convention and you've gathered together with your Zone 33, 34 counterparts, it is truly one of the highlights. And so it's going to give me a great honor to be able to introduce our next speaker. But thank you, Mark. I've certainly learned quite a bit in your presentation, and I know people are going to have some questions. But I first want to...
Dawn, it's
Yep.
Bryn, if
Yes.
I may.
Oh, absolutely.
I apologize. I have to leave. This is my 5th call today with Rotary, and I've got a wife who wants me to spend some time with her. So I'm going to have to make some comments and then leave if I can indulge you. I want to echo Mark's comments on what he's said about Calgary. It's going to be truly spectacular. And the home hosting, to me, is always a highlight of any convention I go to meet Rotarians from around the world. Mark mentioned very briefly some of the things that are happening in the convention itself. The breakout sessions, for those that have been to a convention, the breakouts are always very interesting. We had them open. We had over 360 applications for breakouts, of which we had to select 70. And we have selected those 70. So you can imagine that we feel that they're going to be the most exciting breakouts that you will experience. We're working on speakers and entertainment. We can't announce them until we get the final contract signed. So there's always a delay as we negotiate their contracts, but we've got some phenomenal speakers lined up, I know, and everyone will want to be there. And again, as Mark alluded to, I always say Calgary is a city with a small town feel. Wherever you go in Calgary, you'll be welcome, and it'll just be wonderful. I saw Andy had a question in the chat box about a venue for district attending. Mark can answer that, who to get in touch with. The HOC have excellent people in there to help you find the right venue for your event. So don't worry about that. So I do have to leave, but I wanted to come on and make sure that you're all invited and welcome. And contrary to what maybe President-elect Trump says, we don't want to be the 51st state, but we do want to welcome you. So please come, and we'll see you all in Canada. Thank you very much, Don.
Oh, no, thank you. We appreciate it. I didn't realize you were still on. And so it's quite the treat to have both you and Mark and our next speaker, Lloyd, to really talk about and to give us some insider information that is happening. But for some of you who may not have had the honor of knowing Mark, I want to tell you a little bit about him and his gifts to the world. Is that, Lloyd comes from a military family, and he experienced a lot of diversity growing up because he lived in several areas of the United States, to include Alaska and abroad in the Far East, as a lot of our military families know. But following graduation from university, he began a 26-year career as an Army officer. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lloyd, for your service. He is a decorated veteran for his military service because he served honorably in peacetime and for wartime conflicts. He's earned 3 advanced degrees, including a law degree from Campbell University in North Carolina, and he treasures lifelong friendships developed through professional camaraderie and Rotary. He retired as a lieutenant colonel in 2008 and has continued his federal service at Fort Bragg, also known as Fort Liberty, where currently he is with the Department of Army Civilian within a military organization that supports 30 Army installations in the eastern United States. Lloyd lives Margaret Mead's insight, one of my favorite quotes: "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." Lloyd joined Rotary, the Rotary Club of the Sandhills, in 1995, and has served multiple roles in Rotary, including past district governor of District 7690 here in North Carolina. He has continued in multiple areas and has been highlighted as a recipient of Rotary International's Avenues of Service Award and the Rotary Foundation's District Service Award. Outside of Rotary, as you can imagine, Lloyd is very active in multiple community service areas, and he has been asked by Rotary International Director Patrick to serve as our host for the Gathering event, which again, most of us have known as the Southland event. So without further ado, I will turn it over to our event chair host, Lloyd Navarro.
Oh, good evening, friends. I just want to echo everything that both Mark and Brian said, and that is that we have tried to when we have been developing the event formerly known as Southland, and now known as the Gathering for Calgary, that we wanted to develop that warmth and welcoming fellowship that will occur, that has occurred in the past, and that will continue here in Calgary in 2025. I'm going to paint a broad brush because, kind of like what Brian mentioned, you can't give too many details out until the contracts are all signed. And I will tell you that this particular contract for this venue and its details just got signed within the past week ago. Although it's been an ongoing thing since about March of this year. It's only been following the numbers that we have been going through. We've been whittling down the various venues until we have finally decided upon one, in which I hope Mark can talk a little bit about to us. I only have experience from the website and dealing with the wonderful staff, and it will be on June 22nd, which is Sunday of 2025, and it will be at the Hotel Arts very near what they are calling the campus there near the BMO Center, as well as the Saddle Dome. In fact, it's within 10-minute walking distance of that. And if you see the Calgary Tower in this graphic that Patrick Eakes had made, our director, the hotel is very near that Calgary Tower that you see so prominent in the center of that particular graphic. Like I said, I'm going to paint a broad brush, but give you a little bit of inside information as well. We have booked the entire area of the ballroom, the Spectrum Ballroom. And I'll tell you, it's a recently renovated, when I say recently, within the past few years, renovated a very large ballroom that accommodate about 1,000 people. And so we are expecting a huge gathering of fellowship between our two zones. And we certainly want to invite each and every one of you to this particular event. As Mark had talked about, prominently featured during this reception style event, which will occur at between 5 and 8 p.m., as you can see on the graphic. It will have the farm to fork dinner fare. It will not be a plated dinner at all, such as reception style. There will be 4 different stations throughout the ballroom and the Spectrum Ballroom, and it will have featuring that which the area is known for. It's Alberta beef, some of the pastas area. There will be chef-attended stations that will be there, as well as there'll be some grazing station in which you can go by, take your own plate and get some of the local cheeses and vegetables and crackers and so on and so forth. And of course, there will be the dessert table. There will be 1 table for that. In addition, for those that like to partake in the wet libations, we have a generous number of bars that will be available, 4 bars throughout the ballroom, where they will take both cash or credit. Either one, and the cash that they will take will be, of course, the Canadian dollar. I do want to tell you too that throughout the evening, and particularly in the first part of the evening, there will be a past canapes that will happen, a generous portion of that. And there will be all types of canapes that will be, or hors d'oeuvres that you would be able to taste. That being some of salmon, beef, watermelon, grilled watermelon, as well as for those that do not take part in carnivore type of activities, there'll be some vegetable or a mushroom type of hors d'oeuvres that will be passed around as well. I do want to tell you that it is designed to be planned that just be a good time to get together, hence the gathering of both family and friends from our zones 33 and 34. So we hope that you will sign up for it. If you notice, I haven't said the cost because we haven't been determinative of the entire cost as of yet. But one of the planning factors was that we did not want it to be over $75 per person. And so, and we're happy to say that we have met that particular planning goal, but we haven't established the exact cost. Some of the current ongoing activities that are going now since this contract was just signed, we are in website registration development, of which that should be unraveled here very shortly. And then we will decide on what publishing date that we would do that. Shortly also, there will be an email going out to all those that are registered. And then eventually you'll be able to clone that particular one to that email or correspondence to other individuals to entice involvement, not only in the gathering, but also on their way to experience the magic all around at Calgary. So it is on the 22nd. The host committee has got every night chock full of very wondrous adventures, and we tried to tuck our event in there from 5 to 8 on the 22nd. And so it will occur right after the excitement of the opening ceremonies, both sessions, and then it will also occur. Unfortunately, we had to step a little bit on the rocking the tent event. If you stay all the way to 8. But since we're starting at 5 and that event doesn't start until 7, you can come and partake in the fellowship early on and then leave to go to that particular event. Like I said, it's very centrally located, so it facilitates that very nicely. If you have any questions, I'm surely would like to entertain those when we have the opportunity to do this, but let's all go to Calgary and the gathering. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, taking some time to talk to us about the event. And I can't wait to see the venue because when you said the name of the hotel, I had to immediately Google it. The pictures are gorgeous. It looks like it's fantastic. And Mark approves. So to me, that means, right, that we're on the right track. So thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you guys being here. And I guess we want to open it for questions now. Dawn is gonna monitor the chat if anybody has any questions they want to dip in there. Oh, it looks like David had a question about the fire situation, and so yeah, we've been guaranteed no fires.
Yeah, that's my co-chair Craig has guaranteed no fires. We've been very fortunate that there hasn't been anything nearby in recent years, but that doesn't mean that with the winds over the mountains that smoke doesn't blow in. Certain years, it's been okay the past few years, and normally happens a little bit later as we get a little bit drier towards the end of the summer. But unfortunately, it's something that we've had to deal with in previous years.
Wow, thanks for that question. Whoever posted, David, that posted that, appreciate that. Because that's not something I'm terrible with, like big major events. I'm kind of like west side, north. So thank you for pointing that out. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments or anything else that you want to ask or share?
So I know that Bryn mentioned, but Mark, is there anything that you would suggest in terms of a district that is wanting to host a dinner?
Right.
In addition to maybe the Southland? I know Lloyd would like everyone to come to the gathering. Sorry, it's going to take me a little bit to change the name. But I'm sure I would almost think that maybe you could even make sure everyone groups together since the zones is hosting that. But if there's anything additional, what would you suggest, Mark?
Yeah, I think there's a particular lady, and just let me get her email address. We have any of these types of things are called, from RI's point of view, unaffiliated events.
Right.
So these are wonderful things that are going on outside of the actual program of the convention. And we have a spouse of a past district governor, Marlene Doherty, who is charged with the responsibility of matching up those that want to have these types of events with some of the restaurants or other things that are looking to host you. And so I will put her email in the chat.
I would also like her information, wouldn't we, Dolores?
Yeah. I'll put her email in the chat so that you can reach out to her and say, hey, we have what we think is going to be 50 people. Where would be a good restaurant? This is what we want. This is what we want to pay. And then Marlene, along with Tourism Calgary, will find some choices and pass over some contact details of those. We have over 100 of those events already happening and organized. And if I could, just one bit of constructive criticism with the gathering, with the Southland event. I don't think it's going to work at Hotel Arts the way that you guys think it is, because I can tell from this group that 4 bars is not enough for your group. You're going to need more.
You had Lloyd worried on that one. You could see his face.
Well, the fortunate thing is we were able to negotiate at least a minimum area, and as we go along, as our numbers swell, hopefully, we'll be able to make greater arrangements. So
awesome.
Yes,
awesome.
Yeah, and of course the exchange rate does not hurt at all when we're trying to hold this type of event. And Mark, I do want to tell you that the staff at Hotel Arts were wonderful in every facet of trying to accommodate what we wanted to do.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing that, Lloyd. I'll make sure I pass it on to them as well.
Yeah, so it looks like we have a question from Jean. Jean, the floor is yours.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Y-
You have a
I
question?
just want to ask, will you share the recording with us after so I can share with other members that could not attend this session?
Yes, as soon as, give me about
Say it
24
again?
hours. Give me about 24 hours and everybody who registered for this Zoom will have it. And it will also be sent out to the master list that we send, sort of the Calgary promotional updates as well. And it sounded like Mark was going to share the slides.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, and I
You.
can see we have Marlene's information. Everyone feverishly write that down.
Yep, and I will make sure that it is also included in the sort of summary email to make sure that everyone has that information. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of coming to these. You get little tips and tricks.
Yes, this is so great. And also, Marlene's about to have a couple dozen best friends. You might want to drop her a warning.
No.
Okay.
So
Does
other
anybody else?
questions or thoughts? I know we've got lots of folks on this call that have probably attended multiple conventions. And so what is something that you would want to make sure that you maybe told someone who's never been to make sure that they do?
I would just say that, if you haven't gotten accommodations, obviously do that, get something, but go back every few days because people do cancel and sometimes you can get a more desirable, whatever desirable is to you, a more desirable accommodation, just checking back regularly. And I did that in Houston and ended up literally connected to the convention center. But that was from going back repeatedly and checking.
That is
Great.
great advice, Mike. Always here to show us the way. Seriously, that is some of the best advice because I was at a hotel far, far, far. And I really didn't know that there was that option to just keep going back and looking. And Jamie, looked at my reservation and panicked. He was like, "Why are you staying 7 miles away?"
Well,
So,
people cancel, change their reservations all the time.
yeah, that's great. Ooh, do we have any group discounts for airfare? There's nothing official, but anybody on the call? I mean, how many people are here? Maybe somebody has an in. I know that when we had our previous webinar, if you want to go look for that link, and maybe we could send both links out when we do this follow-up, Dawn. Great. The previous one, you'll receive a link to that. Jamie, as a member of our district here in Virginia, he talked about like points and various discount like things and stuff for airfare and travel. So go take a look at that webinar and maybe there'll be some information there, Paul, that could help you as well. But if there's anybody that has anything that they don't want to share publicly, just private message Paul. He wins because he asked.
And the other thing that I would say is that there is in the process of RI sponsorship finalizing potential airline sponsors that would involve discount codes. And they're Canadian Airlines, but they're partners. So one might be a Star Alliance partner or whatever the case. So stay tuned for that. We will promote that through the promotion committees and on the websites just the very second that we have it. We're kind of frustrated or had hoped that we would have had that sooner because people are going to want to book as quick as they can and as cheap as they can.
Yeah, what I will say on our first webinar, what was great about the travel expert that we had is that he actually like broke it down into terms of like what airlines flew out of what segments, and his contact information is on there. Because sometimes that's international travel can always be daunting, even if it's to our neighbor to the north from the US. And he was really helpful in that webinar. So I'll make sure that the link gets included in the email as well.
Yeah, and if you need to reach out to him and you can't open the video or whatever, reach out to me. I'll put you in touch. And I haven't bought my plane tickets yet, so maybe Mark, maybe the universe was on my side on this one, because I've been having like panic attacks that I don't have my plane tickets yet, and here you are saying there may be a discount coming.
And not only that, by listening to Mike, you'll get a better hotel too by just checking back every so
Yeah, I
often.
think I might do that again. See?
Yes, I'll make sure that that we get a summary out. Again, give me until Saturday morning, but I will make sure it happens.
Awesome. Does anybody else
Hey,
have
Don,
any
Don
other-
and Don
Yeah.
and Renee, I do want to say one thing. You know, I've gone to several conventions, and every convention that I've gone to, I've brought something back. And I would tell you, you would be absolutely remiss, and please put this out to everybody, if you don't get a white hat from this particular convention. There is nothing that is more emblematic of Calgary than that. You know, my wife, my bride of 33 years, her family went to Calgary, and they each got a hat. And there are times during the Calgary Stampede when they can't go there, they gathered with their white hats at their home. So it truly is. I put a plug in for a white hat, get one.
Awesome. That's a really good plug, because I did order mine. It should be waiting for me in the House of Friendship. Not only did I do that, but Mark, while you were describing the grandstand event, I went on to look because I thought I had like selected some things, but I hadn't finished my transaction. I was waiting. And while you were talking, I bought the Big Rock, whatever, Rock and Big Tent event, which is right after Southland.
Yes.
Oh, the Gathering. And then I bought my ticket for the grandstand event. So both of those I got because you were like, things are filling up.
Absolutely. And just for everybody, especially because your own zone event is happening on the evening of the 22nd, you would not be able to go to New Blood. So in
Not be
terms of
able to go to
logistics
New
and
Blood. Right,
but
right,
Rock in the
right.
Big Tent, it'll just be getting started by the time
Right.
you
That's,
get there.
yeah, I saw
And
that
so
and
it'll
was
be a
like, I'm
great
doing
way to
that.
end your evening.
Yeah, my whole night is planned out that night now, with ticketed events. Okay, so Hamilton has a question. Aside from the metro, Mark, could you give some guidance on how the wheelchair accessibility is downtown for various activities and venues?
Yep. So I'll preface it by saying, as I am fortunate enough, my 16-year-old son is a wheelchair user. And so we think of this every single day, and have gone through every convention aspect and are informing how accessibility, this will be one of the most accessible conventions ever. Once you get onto the downtown campus, for sure, everything is accessible. New state-of-the-art BMO Center, elevators, wide spaces, automatic doors, lots of accessible washrooms in the convention area itself. And every time from the moment you get off your airplane to going downtown or to your hotel, the light rail transit, the accessible vans for transit, and the sidewalk curbs. The good thing, like if you were asking me and this was happening in December, I would say we really try hard that our sidewalks and entries into buildings are clear of snow and things like that. But in June, it will be no problem at all. And Calgary is a world-leading city when it comes to that.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much. And great question. Thank you for thinking of that, Hamilton. I appreciate it. And oh, is there another message?
Yeah, Paul, in terms of the how often will Rotary transport be happening, what they've done in the past, and I've been on a lot of meetings where they've started to organize this, is they will have more active at high profile parts of the day. Meaning, if we know that there's a plenary that starts at 10 a.m., then ramping up to that 10 a.m. to get everybody there, they'll be more often. Then it might slow down during the day when most of the people are going to be around the downtown campus. It may not be going back to the hotels as often, but certainly at the end of the night, it'll ramp up again. So they're being purposeful about it. Whether or not they get it right all of the time, I know they've been conscientious about it, of trying to make a lot of people happy when it comes to that.
That's fantastic. And we welcome any kind of feedback that you guys have, or follow-up questions. If you tell someone about this presentation and they're like, oh, I wish I could have been on there, I would have asked this question. Just let us know. We want to do one more of these in the spring, and to kind of have like a know before you go. And Mark, maybe Lloyd, even if you guys want to come back in when we have that and just pop in for 5 minutes for any updates, or if you guys have new information or something is
Happy
like
to.
about to sell out.
Yeah.
And then Lloyd, maybe by that point you can really kind of show off your, flex a little on whatever entertainment and speakers that you're gonna have, maybe involved with the gathering. I don't know what you guys have planned, but I'm really excited to see it. Apparently, with as many bars as we're gonna have, things could get really great and get us all ready to go to the big poppin' tent party afterwards. So I don't even drink and it sounds fun.
Well, thanks for the invite, Nate. And most certainly we'll take advantage of that. Yeah, like I said, this is very much broad stroke for tonight. But as things go
A
on,
little teaser, I think, a little hook and reel. Give us a little taste. So it looks like there's maybe trouble with the QR code that we threw up. So
okay, I'll include the link. It was right
Yeah.
to the Calgary hat when I tested it before, so
yeah,
we'll make sure that that link is fixed. So thank you for the feedback.
yeah, great. And we'll send out the link when we send the other stuff. And then for everybody on the call, if you guys would spread the word that Calgary is a great opportunity for some of your newer members that maybe are just kind of like looking to see what Big Rotary is about outside of the four walls of your club or your district, because especially for our zone, it's at least on the same continent. So this would be a really great one if people are timid about traveling overseas. And then if you guys, anybody else on this call right now, have any great last words about, advice when it comes to like a traveling for a conference like this, and or if it's a big long explanation, come back to the next one. Because we're gonna do like a know before you go, and we're really gonna talk about packing, weight limits, and kind of how to be, smart about what you're bringing for the weather and everything else. So hopefully Mark can hook us up with someone from the home committee that might be able to kind of talk about that kind of stuff.
I'll make one final comment about the plenary session, Renee, and that's that if you want really, really good seats, number one, give the foundation $250,000. But if you want decent seats, get there really early. Get there really, really early, especially the Monday morning plenary session, and I guess the opening ceremonies as well. So
yeah, the good news, and Mike, you've been to many conventions. It sounds like we're lucky that we're in a stadium. And so realistically, it's going to be on one edge. It's a hockey arena, basically. So on one end, they're going to have it draped off, and that's where the stage is going to be. So everything is going to be basically in the round, whether you're on the lower
like
level,
a big
upper
bowl
level.
looking down.
It'll be like a big bowl looking down, which will be great, and much better than, say, Singapore or other conventions where you have chairs and looking up at a stage.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds, I think Melbourne was that way. I wasn't able to go, but I believe it had a stadium setting kind of. Awesome. All right. I'll hand it back over to you, Dawn.
Yeah, so thank you so much for everyone who is attending. So if you registered to get a link, which everyone did, you're automatically on my email string. Feel free to reach out. We encourage all of you that are promotions chairs. If you have any feedback, if you need us to appear at any of your clubs, your district events, anything that you need Renee and I for, please reach out. We are tag teaming zones 33, 34. So whoever's available, or you have the email or the cell phone number too, please reach out. But again, we just want to say a special thank you to Mark joining us from Calgary. That was amazing. Also, to have the organizing chair, Bren, with us, which was unexpected and quite delightful. And thank you so much, Lloyd, for championing the gathering. So we're really excited to join. So thank you again, and we will stay on for a few more minutes, but we're going to stop recording. And thank you again for attending.